Hello and welcome, this is the Nuclear Rabbit and today I am recording a Summon Druid. So as usual we start off by getting a stealth. After that we head for Andariel, who we just poison down with Poison Creeper. So at the start of the game on a Summon Druid you just want to use Poison Creeper, it's so broken now. They've buffed it a lot in Resurrected. After that we go for Duriel and now you can see we actually have some puppies as well and some ravens. And as long as we keep summoning stuff we will win this fight. After that we head towards the council, and here you can really start to tell that with, what is this, 8 summons, you really start to just power through normal. And you're also doing fine against act bosses. You don't have a lot of life, even though I do have Oak Sage up right now, but even with that I'm only at 360 life. But Mephisto just never targets you, so it's okay. After Mephisto comes the Hellforge, so we kill Hephasto for his hammer, get an Eth rune from the Hellforge. And after that it's time for the Diablo fight. The Diablo fight's really difficult, so what I'm trying to do here, because I got really lucky, there's a fire shrine over there and I'm trying to lure Diablo over. So it takes a bit because he doesn't really want to go there, but he just murders my summon, so I have to lure him over. He gets close and there we go, pop the fire shrine. And that's half of my HP gone, but also half of Diablo's HP gone, which is perfect because the summons just have a lot of trouble with him. As you can tell, I just constantly have to recast them. But it's still a very safe fight, he's just not targeting me. And there he goes. So after that it's time for the Ancient. Usually one of the hardest parts of the Ancient is splitting them up, but you don't have to when you're outnumbering them. Korlik is literally surrounded. And now Talik is as well. He does Whirlwind out, but it's okay. And we're just standing around there. I went for Howling of Wolves because damage is great. And with that we head towards Bale, who also is just a lot of trouble for our summons. They just go poof every time he attacks. But in the end it doesn't even matter and Bale goes down. We find a unique amulet. It's a Sarracan's Chance with 25 resistance. After that it's Nightmare time. I do take a bunch of damage for the first time in forever. Get myself an Am rune and a Tear rune. Make myself an Edge. So this has a level 15 Thorns aura, which I want to use so the summons get Thorns. It's just the same strategy as I did on the Summon Necro, and it worked very well there, so I figured why not do it on the Summon Druid as well. And it goes pretty well, as you can tell, and Dario goes down very quickly. Then in Act 2 Nightmare we get ourselves a new mercenary. It's a Might mercenary. So now my summons have Howling of Wolves and I find a +2 summoning skills. Amulet as well. Oh, also this teleport pad just doesn't work on the controller, on console. Just wanted to point it out. Anyway, what I was trying to say, now my summons have multiple auras. They have Thorns, they have Might, they have the Spirit aura. It's all fantastic. And we have the Bear now as well. So bear with me while we take down Duriel. And you can just stand there, no need to be overbearing. We find a linked mail and some garbage from Duriel. Linked mail is a Spirit Forge, lots of life, bit of fire resist, but it's a lot of life, which is great. I ended up putting 2 perfect topaz in it. And with that we head for the council, where we find a unique bill and a unique Kalim's flail. So the thing with this game is it gets a lot easier when you're outnumbering everything. Well, at least in normal and Nightmare, this build through hell was a trip. And then it's Mephisto time. Once again, we just surround him. I'm hoping at this point that the council leaves me alone and he walks away, which is perfect. But then he comes back and now Mephisto has Fanaticism, which is a thing, but yeah, he's surrounded, so that's okay. Hydra's in there as well. But this is really showcasing what happens when you outnumber the game. Recast my bear. The bear is super tanky. With that I take a hit in Act 4 again, and then we head towards Hephasto the Armorer, who just gets knocked around by the bear. Hellforge time. Hellforge gives us a Hell rune, Hellforge. And then for the Diablo fight, just stand right next to him. The fire does kill most of my summons, but that's okay, just recast them every single time. As long as he doesn't target the mercenary, because recasting the mercenary takes like 30k at this point. So yeah, Diablo's surrounded and just dodges fire. Well, there goes the mercenary, there go the rest of the summons. And the bear is actually so big that it gets hit by the lightning. But the bear is also insanely tanky, although it does die to the second fire. And it took a while, but Diablo goes down and drops us a Serpent Skin armor, which is a skin of the Viper Magi, with 21 resist all, but we do put a socket in it, because it's easily the best armor I'm gonna find in this run, and it adds 31 life as well with the Flawless Ruby in it. I just didn't have a perfect, and I do have a Hell Rune anyway, so I can just take out the Flawless when I find the perfect. Then Nightmare Ancients time. This build does really well into Ancient. Everything where you're like, okay, I need to fight 2 guys, 3 guys, 4 guys, 5 guys. This build does really well, because you just brutally outnumber them. I can see this build getting absolutely clowned on in Chaos, for instance, though. Talik whirlwinds around a bit, but at this point all 3 of them are almost dead, so. And with that, the Ancients go down as we head towards Bale, who also just gets surrounded. We find a Tall Rush as belt. After that, we head towards Act 5, where we find an IK Helm while farming Eldritch. And then we head into Hell. Start off by getting our Roderick Maulers and fighting the Smith. And as you can tell, the damage on this build in Hell is not great. Like, this is honestly pretty sad. Having this much trouble with the Smith does not bode well at all. I mean, I'm not dying, but that's basically all this build is doing, not dying. But we do end up making it to Andariel, who poisons my minions, but they do have a bit of resistance, so they don't die all the time, but they do die a lot. And at that point, I decide to start running around to try and kite some stuff towards each other, so the minions will actually kill some stuff instead of getting surrounded themselves. But it ends up just being a giant fucking mess. And this is what I was going for. I want my summons to outnumber Andariel and the rest of the field just to leave them alone, because the summons just don't really deal enough damage to deal with this. Like, look at how much trouble they're having with like random ghouls and fallens and stuff. But we do end up taking Andariel down, and after that I decide to do some more farming, so I head back towards the Throne of Destruction in Nightmare, where I'm greeted with this fucking screen. I'm just standing there like, maybe I live that? Probably. So go back up, recast my stuff again, and go back down, run away, make a town portal, and now I have everything in one spot. So at least now I have like one central point of where my minions are fighting, and I'm out of danger, which is also very, very important to me. And now it's just a matter of waiting, and I just wanted to showcase this fight, because this is like a random boss pack, and even though it's fanaticism, this is way too long to take on a random pack in Nightmare. And the pack finally goes down. It's just a random fanaticism pack, but it really showcases how this build is, yes, just very lacking in damage, honestly. And Bale drops me another Serpent Skin armor, so now I have a better Viper Magi. This is 35%, so it's a perfect one. And I also end up finding a short siege bow, which is a Witch Wild string. After that, I feel like I have enough gear, and I go towards Hell Act 2. And Hell Act 2 is a special level of hell. It's just, this build just can't deal with physical immunes properly, so I end up just leaving the Maggot Lair, trying to re-roll it into something that's not physical immune. But even like the random rock worms, like I'm having so much trouble with stuff. After that, I end up level 3 because I didn't get physical immunes on level 1 and 2, and just walk into Black Locusts again, and they are just regenerating almost as fast as the wolves are killing them. So I re-roll again. And this time I end up against a physical immune worm. And at this point I'm just sick of it. So I decide to respec. And I go for Armageddon. Because I needed a skill that would have some range, some area of effect that worked in the Maggot Lair. And after that I just spec back into the summons. And I almost immediately die because I still, even in the Arcane Sanctuary, I just can't properly deal with physical immunes. So when a boss pack of Spectre comes, I just leave. And when I get a random Spectre, I also leave. I end up getting the idea to get a mercenary with the Witch Wild string. So I get a gold arrow mercenary with a shield Witch Wild string, and lo and behold, she actually gets us through the act. It takes for bloody ever, but things are dying now. The cold damage on the wolves is just so sad. I figured, okay, I have physical damage, I have cold damage, I'm gonna be fine here. The cold damage on the wolves is just so bad, and the damage in general is just not there. Like, these are just random monsters, and my minions are barely getting through them. Every time something is respawning or getting revived or something, it's just such a giant struggle. I decide to try a new strategy. I go for a Spirit and an Ancient Pledge to get some more plus skills and see if I can get through the content now. And I do, but it's a giant struggle, as you can tell. But we do manage to get to Duriel in the end. And the boss fights are just super reasonable. Like, the boss fights are not a problem, except Bill. Bill takes forever, but that's on every build. So just respawn the minion that he's killing, and Duriel ends up going down, dropping us a set Chaos armor, which is Trang Ul Pulse armor, and it has +2 to summoning skills. For Necro, this would have been the perfect armor if it wasn't Necromancer only. So with that, I decide to move on, because I'm getting through the content, it's just taking forever, and I end up finding a treasure with 3 sockets and add treasure. And I farmed the lower cores for like 2.5 hours, but I never found like a couple of Lum runes or a Co rune, because I wanted to make the Fanaticism aura in it, but I just never found the rune. After that, it's council time, and once you're through Act 2, this build is super reasonable. I also end up finding a unique ring, which I'm identifying after I kill most of the council. I don't want them to heal while I'm identifying my Nagel ring. So it's a Nagel ring. So one thing that you see me doing is very aggressively recasting the summons. I very much use my summons as a positioning tool. So for instance, when I need the council to stop running away, I will spawn the bear in front of them to turn them around again. And you can do it with the wolves and stuff, but the bear is the most tanky, so I found that that works the best for it. And with that, the council finally goes down. And we find a blue amulet, which is +3 summoning skill, so I'm immediately equipping that. This build did very well into the Durans. You just have a lot of summons to stop the doll, so it takes forever, but you get through it very easily. And with that, we head towards the Mephisto fight, and you can really see the auras just stacking up on my minions and my mercenary now. And Mephisto just stands no chance while he's beaten down from all sides. With that, we are in Act 4, we're almost there, and we go against Snot Shank. What a name. And we find a unique Elder Staff, which is Ondal's Wisdom. And remember that Tal's belt that I found? It has dexterity on it, so I can actually use the staff. Health Force gets me a pawn, and at this point, I've kind of tipped over the damage point. Like at this point, the cold damage is okay-ish, and the non-physical immune things are going down super reasonably. So I feel like once I got like +9 skills, the build started functioning, which is a big ask, to be honest. And don't get me wrong, this is not like an S tier build or anything. If you thought this was like a summon Necro, you're in for a bad time. This is like a summon Necro who bumped his ankle a lot on everything, because you're missing amp damage and you're missing corpse explosion, and those two things on their own are better than this entire build. But as you can tell, we are getting through the game. So Diablo getting surrounded, casting my summons, and just standing there, hanging out, chilling. And I can definitely see this build being someone's pet project. God, I hated that I said that. Anyway, I can definitely see this being someone's pet project and just getting through the game with it and playing it a lot. But if you like this style of build, I honestly just gotta recommend play a Necro. It's so much better. Even though this has been buffed, you used to be able to only get one of the summons. And what I would do to fix it is I would give the Spirit Wolves more cold damage. Like 50 or 100 more cold damage total. Because when you're not fighting physical immunes, the build is slow but steady. I just reset every area after Act 2 Hell that had physical immunes. I just reset, hard reset every single time. That should just not be a thing. Meanwhile, we are beating down the Ancients. Hell Ancients was very fine for this. No problem whatsoever. Just hide behind a pillar and wait. Then in the Wildstone Keep we find a set ward, which is 35k. I mean, it's Tayback's glory. I wish that thing had more stats. It's a cool looking shield, it's very unique, but it just doesn't do anything. You can really tell, like, this is Holy Freeze Lister, and yeah, things are just not moving along. Like, this build clears the game, but it has a lot of trouble doing it. So here's the Bale fight. And once again, it just takes forever, but it will go down. Just recast your summons when necessary. Also, I'm just casting them using the staff with the +4 skills and then switching every once in a while when I think it's safe to the bow and getting the Thorns Aura as well. There are not a lot of safe moments here. Like, I almost died multiple times during the Bale fight. I've still never died to Bale. I really want to keep it that way. And there you have it. Bale goes down. We have a new Guardian. So, equipment wise, Ondal's Wisdom, a Lore, a Keeper's Amulet, Skin of the Viper Magi, some random resist gloves, a random ring, Tal's belt for the dexterity, a random resist ring again, and some boots, a spirit, and an ancient splash. All in all, this gear was really lackluster. I had a Viper Magi and an Ondal's Wisdom, which were really good, and the rest was super whatever. So some mercenary gear. So these are my stats: 60 strength, the rest in vitality. And these are my skills, all in the summoning tree. Here we have it: Guardian, Summon Druid, Charles Darwin. Thank you for watching, see you in the next one, bye bye.